This is Yonks on the Open DAO, and very excited here today. We are joined with Lannis from the Dework.xyz team, who is bringing forward a Web3 native solution that fulfills the DAO tooling component for a bounty board task management and nicely integrates a compensation component as well. So looking forward to seeing what we have in store, and over to you, Lannis.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I guess what I start by doing is just to give a brief walkthrough of how Dework works. And it's basically three products in one. So it's the product management part, there's the bounty board part, and then there's the profile building parts. So, but I think everything of this will be more concrete by just walking through the product. I'm happy to answer any questions throughout. So please feel free to interrupt me. So how it works is that you can basically create a DAO, and then you can create product boards in that DAO, and you can either start from scratch or import them directly if you already have tables or boards in Notion or Trello. But we can go ahead here and just create the product from scratch, and that can be like an ops or community or development project, and they can be either private or public. So maybe private ones before a launch or whatever. When they need to be private, only people that you invite will see them then. But by public, everything is, or by default, everything is public. And when you go ahead and create the project, it's kind of like Trello board-like view, but with some key DAO specific features. So if we go ahead here and create a task about, write a post about X, that could be like in internal work or like a bounty. We can do the bounty part first, maybe. And we can create tags to provide metadata about this task. Oh, it's not take task, actually, it's writing. Yeah, and we can also attach a bounty to the completion of that task. So we can say that when someone completes this task, we'll pay the bounty. And we can use Gnosis Safe for it. I guess that's what you're using as multi-sig safe currently. Are you guys are using Gnosis Safe currently?
Sorry, that was me muted. Sorry. Yes, we're currently using Gnosis Safe for our treasury payments, but it's unlikely we'd use it for this functionality because it would mean a payment, people having to authorize multiple Gnosis Safe payments when we need 5 out of 7 signatories every time. So it wouldn't be efficient for us to do that.
Right, makes sense.
So it would be probably paid out of the person's individual and then reclaimed back. Right. We don't know, we're still working that out.
Sure. Yeah, so I guess what we've seen other DAOs do is that you can batch pay all the tasks at once. So I'll just briefly show that. So most DAOs use Gnosis, but you can also use MetaMask or any other wallet on any network, really. And then, yeah, what a lot of DAOs do is that they have like a safe for the bounties or whatever. So if we just look at this for now, then you can choose a token to pay with, and this you can choose whatever token, even if you pay from MetaMask or from your own personal safe or from a multi-sig safe. So you can choose a token or NFT to pay with. So you would basically just paste the contract address in here and do the lookup, and then we would add that as one of the tokens you can pay with. Okay, so most DAOs prefer.
We have our own SOS token.
Exactly.
So we would want pretty much everything to be paid in SOS token, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So most DAOs prefer to, exactly as you say, pay with their own tokens. So if we just now for the demo purposes just stick with ETH here, we can add a small bounty here, and add this bounty now to the backlog. So what now can be done is that we can invite the community. So we can invite the contributors here, and this is how it looks like from the community perspective, where you get this link. You see that you've been invited to this project. You can accept the invite, and you can make an application to claim this bounty.
Just on that point, sorry, just on that point quickly.
Sure.
So if we create a task and then we click invite contributors. Do we have to do that every time we do a bounty task, or would it be more a case of people can just log on and see it?
So the invite link is not to the bounty, but for the whole project. Right. So you can have several bounties in one project, and also you can have the Discord setting that basically pings people in Discord when a new bounty is added.
Okay. We might have to think about how we work with that, but yeah, that sounds okay.
But there's also the capability, JH, where you could put like a token gating feature, like for if somebody has staked SOS, for example, you could put that in as the contract address on the project, where somebody that holds that token can automatically join that project. Is that correct, Lannis?
That's completely correct. Yeah. So in settings,
okay,
we have token gating. So.
Hey, hey, Lannis, we had a question from the audience. One of our listeners was asking if this is where he can assign, or she, I'm not sure the listener, but if a person can assign somebody to do work. So are we going to limit this to only the core team, or is anybody able to do this? So that's question number one. And then I actually had a follow-up question, which was, can we limit the people who claim the bounties to only being SOS holders? So you said it's a public board, but we would like this to be bounties for our community, by our community. Is there a way to limit that? If you have SOS in your wallet, then you can claim a bounty. If you don't, you can see it, but you can't claim it.
Right. So the second question first, maybe. So yeah, you can token get the project, and you can still have it public or private. So if you token get the project and have it public, then people can still see it, but not apply to claim tasks or be assigned to tasks if they don't have the token in their wallet. So you can do that easily. So, and for the token getting part, sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that's great. And then was wondering if we're going to limit this to kind of the mod team to create bounties. I'm assuming, unless JH or Honey Badger, you have different thoughts on that. But can a community member request a bounty be created, or what's the process for the community to request tasks and then also?
That's a really good question. I like this live format you have. That's great. Yeah. So the way we do that is we have this enable a suggestions column. So if we tick that, we see that we get this fifth column here. So this is how it looks like from the community perspective, where we now have this new column here, and we could say we fix, and it could be a suggestion like we should
add new channel to Discord. Put that one.
And then people can vote on it. So it has one vote now, but it says I added it, and then and someone else can go ahead and add it. Add to it, and then if it gets a lot of votes, then we can add it to the backlog and assign a bounty to it. But it's the project, and we'll change the wording from admins. Admin is probably the wrong word, but say that we have distinction between project steward and contributor. So the project steward can set bounties. But what I would say is that project steward necessarily don't need to be the core team. So we see that a lot of DAOs, they assign project stewards that aren't part of the quote unquote core team, but they are like regular contributors that you trust, basically.
Quick question there, sorry. Do you have a difference between project stewards and admins, as it were? So can someone who's set up as an admin, i.e. able to assign bounties, are they able to amend any of the settings of the setup of this?
That's a great question. So we have this structure where you have DAO admins, which is usually the core team. So we imagine in the future we'll have an even better permissioning system, but that's the rough provisioning system we have currently after about 8 weeks.
Okay.
So we have the core team, and they control they can make a project, they can create new projects, and they can add settings on the DAO level. But then on the project level, you can have people that are admins in ops, but not admins in development bounties or other projects.
Okay.
But to your specific question, yes, the person that is an admin of the project, they can change the settings of the project, but they can't pay for you, basically. So because you either use the Gnosis safe and then they have to be part of the multi-sig, or they pay themselves with their own MetaMask, and that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay. And then to answer your question, I think that the plan is specifically with things like the Education Alliance that we have roles in place within the alliance of like alliance head, as it were, and secretary, and these will be people doing the administration of those particular working groups, I guess you'd call them, and they will they will administer payments on behalf of that team, and therefore they'll need to be doing stuff like setup. So being able to assign them that are like a project, and then they're able to add bounties, etc., is pretty much, I think, what we're kind of looking for.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. Like you were saying, that's what other DAOs do as well. So, I mean, I think we're fairly similar in that regard, but then the core contributors will still retain control of the ownership of the board, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, so it sounds like there's a pretty clean system for if the core team wants a project done. Is there such a thing as like a tipping where if I say, hey, I as just a random community member would like to create something for a bounty, can I say, hey, I'd be willing to pay $50 of SOS to somebody to do that? Or number one, does that functionality exist? Number two, is there, would that just create a lot of chaos because then people would just be creating stuff that we don't necessarily want, or would that make us more DAO-like? So I don't know if that's even possible, and if it is, would we want to do it?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We really want that feature where people can, because what you can do is we should add a new channel again. I'll pay 200. You can do that currently, and then you have to trust someone. But we don't have the escrow feature where we can enable them to send money to a smart contract that everybody trusts, and then we don't have that yet, but we really want to have that eventually.
Can you easily move tasks from one project to another project? And I'm just kind of thinking out loud here because we've got this NFT membership that's got multiple tiers of ERC-20 tokens. And the thought would be maybe to have a board that the task could land on for the highest tier and give the people that hold that highest tier of membership first crack at grabbing or taking ownership of a task, and then have that token gated based upon that ERC-20. And then if it doesn't get filled there, maybe move down to a different project where it's token gated at that lower tier. Would that be a potential workflow scenario that we could?
Yeah, on a very upcoming roadmap that you will be able to, you can already clone projects within a project. You can already clone tasks and bounties within a project. Here, duplicate. So we also want to add so that you can duplicate across boards, basically.
Well, and I don't even know if duplicate would be the right, because it wouldn't be, you wouldn't need that same task to exist in multiple different projects, just moving it from one to another. I think
there might be some where it's like write governance for the alliances that you have in multiple projects, so the duplicate function would work well for that. Or if say we need a new piece of something and it's across different places, then you could use the duplicate function for that. But I get what you mean, Jason, in order to say, you're saying so we got a fairly expensive piece of work, needs a bit of a rush. We firstly gate it to the highest token owners, And then if that doesn't get fulfilled within a couple of hours, then you open it up further, and then you open it up further to more roles. So I don't think it's moving it across boards. I think it's changing the token gating for that particular bounty, I think is what you're describing.
Yeah, but I think that adds some additional workflow, because like right now, the ability to token gate isn't on a per task, it's on the project, if I understand the framework correctly.
Yeah, that's
True. Yeah. So we can work on making that easier to do, like move tasks across projects.
And just thinking out loud, that would be, I think, a pretty fabulous workflow where it increases the intrinsic value proposition and a tiered dynamic of that what do we have, four tiers of the ERC 1155?
Yep, correct.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be across projects as such, because our projects, there would be about 10 different projects, and as new things come up and new, the next thing that they're going to be working on, that would get its own project. But this is about who can, like Jason's point, is more about who can actually fulfill the project, not moving it to a new one. So that's a slightly different issue. So, I mean, moving stuff across, I guess if it doesn't, across projects, I guess if it doesn't get, if we're moving it across projects, it would be easy to duplicate, and it would be more likely that it's not moving across, it's more that we would want it on both. So you put it on one, and then you duplicate it on the other. With that's the functionality as it currently stands, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the functionality that we'll have very soon, at least, where currently we can duplicate within a project, but we have on a very, very soon roadmap to be able to duplicate across projects. It's kind of easy.
Okay.
But yeah, those are great questions for sure. Yeah, and I guess so. This flow here, where I can basically apply to claim this bounty, is, so I showed you two different types of bounties. I think you'll find different use cases for both of them. So here we have one kind of bounty where I can apply to claim this task or bounty. So I can say that I'll want to claim it, and to be able to have a clear transparency about the deadline, I'll say that I'll do it early next week, and I'll be done by Tuesday. And I can even say, if I'm new, I can say I've previously worked done X at Y. So I have some text here. So now I basically requested this to claim this bounty. And then I guess the regular contributors, or whoever you choose to be stewards, they're often non-quote unquote core members, will basically see a list here of people that have applied to claim this bounty. And I can go to their profile and see what they've been up to previously. So a more full profile would be something like this, where you can see the task the person have done, see what tags or kinds of tasks they worked on before. If it's tech related, this would link directly to GitHub, so you can see the actual code. So this is kind of the LinkedIn part, and we want to build on this a lot with issuing like NFTs as badges that you get when you finish Dework tasks, so you can build your own share reputation while also showcasing it here in Dework. So hopefully that will be a way to basically, another way to incentivize your community to do work, basically. So let's see. Right. So yeah, so it's good profile. I can go ahead and assign this. And then like another kind of bounty is like write the best post about token X. So what we can do is that we can have an open bounty, which allows anyone to submit work, and then the DAO can choose which work to choose to pay. So more like a traditional bug bounty or whatever. So if we add this to the backlog here, this is how it looks like from the contributor perspective. I no longer need to apply. I can just submit my work here. So rather than applying, I can submit my work here and say, here's is my work, and then I can attach a link or a PDF or an image or whatever as my work, so that you then on the DAO level can get the list of all the people that have made submissions. So here someone submitted a share, and so those are two kinds of different bounties, bounty types. If we continue with the first kind of bounty here, when someone made an application and claimed the bounty, and it's now in review, so the other person will get the ping in Discord, and I can just here's work. I can do work here, and then and then I can look at the work here from the DAO perspective, and here someone has submitted work, and I can just go ahead and prove that. So now it's in the needs payment column here. So what you can do currently is that you basically can batch pay all tasks at once. I'll just show you that real quick, since it's a kind of heavily used feature. So just want to get your perspective on it. So we see here that we have two tasks that needs payments. And what we can do is that we can batch pay them at once at the end of the sprint or week or whatever. So we can create this Gnosis transaction here. And then you might have a specific...
Go on, sorry. I think for our guidelines and instructions on this, then if we were going to do batch payment processing, we would require that it was to be done like once a week, and all projects done all at once. And then our guidelines to the community are that we can't just do this as the work is done. This has to be batch processed. If we decide to do that, that would be, as it gets bigger and bigger, the sheer number of payments, etc., that kind of thing would get unmanageable. So it would be like a weekly task to go through and clear down and do the payments.
Yeah, so you broke up a bit on my end. I couldn't catch everything. Okay.
I was just saying that we need to have internal guidelines for the bounty owners to go through and do their payments once a week, and guidelines to our community that would be happening. And that's not necessarily what's been decided. That's I'm just thinking of, coming from the background I do, trying to achieve streamlining and manage expectations of the community about when payments will be happening. Because I can imagine some people will jump onto bounties and provide excellent work at the start of the week, and then be harassing people for payment for the rest of the week. So I think clear and concise guidelines are required to kind of protect and make sure that everyone is all on the same page all at the same time.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Hey, Linus, are you familiar with meritverse.xyz? It's like a Web3 version of LinkedIn.
I heard their name. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen their site, I think. Yeah.
So was wondering, is there any possibility that Dework could integrate with Meritverse? So if the audience isn't familiar with Meritverse, it's a way that you can connect your communities and your roles. So you can say, I'm a volunteer in this server, I'm an admin in that server, whatever. And you can say, I don't really do anything in this server, so don't show it. But it's kind of a way that you can do this. Is there a way that I could say, hey, I claimed a bounty for Open DAO and it was marked complete, and now I've got a little badge that shows my project history as my virtual work history. So when I'm trying to get more work and other things, I could use the bounties that I did in Open DAO as a way to do that. Is that possible for a community to link that up, to have an API, or if you're familiar with that?
Yeah, so I guess currently you can do parts of that on Dework. So you'll see here, you see all the work you've done across DAOs. You'll basically build your cross DAO reputation doing this, I guess. But what we will do soon is that we'll also issue these NFTs, and then we will have the task metadata, and then that's the ultimate API, I guess, because then any product, including Meritverse, I think they're called, they can just scan the blockchain and pick that metadata up. So we want to build a reputation like agnostic to Dework, of course. So you basically build your Web3 profile and not, but then of course be able to just show it on Dework as well.
That's awesome. And you said individual alliances can have internal boards for their work only, or everything for the Open DAO is going to be public to everybody?
Yeah, so exactly. So it's on the project level. They can be public or private. So you can have public boards and private boards.
Private boards are Open DAO only.
Is the private board, do you mean token gating, or the private board is invitation only?
Oh, sorry. So the private board is invitation. Right. So good question. So the public boards, this is kind of the first point, but the public boards that are token gated, they are public, so they are visible for everyone, but they are not. You can only claim bounties and do work if you have the token. Private boards that are token gated, they are not visible for anyone except the ones that have the token in their wallet.
Have you seen onboarding is an ongoing topic of conversation that all DAOs are wanting to improve upon? Have you seen any good workflow for utilizing Dework for an onboarding experience?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So the main thing, one of the main things one thinks about when you think like onboarding is like, I guess the two classes of onboarding of like just active community members that votes and like spreads the word and those kind of things, and then I guess this onboarding to do active work, I guess, or like do tasks and bounties. And I guess in second category, we see Dework help a lot for the DAOs to work with. Because then you have like this transparent way of showing these are the open tasks and bounties you can work on. It tightly integrates to Discord, so you don't even need to force anyone to come to Dework, because you will get all the notifications directly in Discord where you already live. And maybe I can show that more concretely how it looks like with the Discord integration.
Is one of the Discord indication? Excuse me, is one of the Discord integrations /bounty, so people can just type that in and then they can see what bounties are available?
Yeah.
Does that exist?
Soon, very soon. So what we'll have, what we already have on staging, but that will deploy soon, is that you can create tasks in Dework using / command in Discord. So you will be able to basically just do /create task, and then you can create tasks and bounties. We'll also have that what you're talking about, just /show bounties, and then you will get the list of those in Discord. For sure. So how the Discord integration currently works is basically, if we just take a quick look at that, and we will basically just choose a server, and then we can choose a channel here to connect the project to. So a Discord channel. So we choose this live stream, and then what we can do is that we'll create a thread for each task. Our bounty is created. So if we have a task here, make a design for us, and then I'll assign that to myself. What happens in Discord is that in the channel choice, we create a thread here, and to that thread, the reviewers and assignees are added. So this is the place where you chat and discuss about the task. So, and this would like everyone would of course see that the thread being created, but yeah, the ones that are actually working on it would be automatically added.
And I saw that there was an option there that you didn't check when you were setting up that Discord integration, as far as, because when I've seen the thread is only created when the assignee occurs, but like from a workflow standpoint, If you don't check the box to like notify some channel, somebody would have to actually come to the bounty board to be aware that there was a new task created.
Yeah. So you're right. So yeah, I just wanted to show the basic use case, but you're 100% right. That as you saw here, this was only created when someone was assigned, but these wouldn't create a thread, or this one wouldn't create a thread, but they would if we would, as you say, toggle that, because then all the new bounties that you add will show up in the thread, in the channel that you should choose. But yeah, that's a very good point. But as we saw here, when we moved this to in review, someone had made work for the bounty and like dragged it to in review. The reviewer gets tagged here in Discord, and yeah, it says that this task is now, or bounty is now ready for review, and it links back to the work. So I can see the task here, and you can also go the other way around. So you can go from the task to the Discord thread. So for new people that can just catch up on the context around the task. And then when I go ahead and mark this as done, I can let's say I can reward people for the great work. And in Discord, we basically now close this thread. We archive the thread, and yeah, everyone can see that this make a design task is now done. So that's the Discord flow. But yeah, as you say, yeah. That's the basic Discord flow.
Have we shown any of the functionality with the subtasks yet?
Yeah. So if we add a new channel to Discord, we might we can add subtasks to a specific task here. So for this one, add a new channel to Discord. Get off.
So for example, a real world example that we could be thinking of is produce article for Medium for this product launch, and that could be separated into create visual image, write research this particular topic, write the actual copy itself, proofread. So you could separate into different things, right?
Exactly.
And you can separate out who can actually perform those tasks.
Sorry, you can separate out who
can perform those tasks.
Right.
Who you can assign them to, basically.
Right.
How will that work, though, as far as the compensation component? If in this scenario where you might have multiple people that are doing multiple subtasks, but then at the task level, there's the reward. How does that work, Linus, in this scenario here with the subtasks?
Yeah. So exactly. So the subtasks are under the hood, just a normal task. So that we can add their respective bounties to. So this is now this bounty.
Fabulous.
And then, exactly. And then, so, well, let's see here. Exactly. So if we mark this as done, this subtask as done, what happens then is that it shows up here in the done column. So if we mark this as done, then this would also show up here. Exactly. Did that answer both of those questions, or?
Yeah, no, love that workflow opportunity with the subtasks there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and let's see if there is anything.
Yeah, sorry, that I keep using myself and forgetting about it. Yeah, so that actually would be quite nice for us. So instead of one, we quite often have a task which needs to be separated, but I could see multiple uses of that. So for speed and administration for the bounty owners, putting it in and then just separating into 3 or 4 different subtasks keeps a very nice track of, right, this copy piece written was for this particular article, and therefore it's within that task, in that bounty, and it's quite nice and you can keep track of which ones have been done, which one it's for, etc. So I think that's quite useful.
Yeah, and to carry that thought further, JH, I could imagine that scenario would be something that would be replicating on a regular basis. So
yeah,
would that being said, is there any thoughts, or have you like for a template task where we could just like copy from template? Because that's definitely one of the features that I really enjoy using in Trello.
And when you say copy from template, do you mean on the task level?
Yeah, so like this type of task that JH is using as a real world example, like create a Medium article or just a blog post, right? Is something that will be done on a regular basis. So the opportunity to have a template that might have, like JH was talking about, multiple subtasks that could be completed by interested parties, contributors, and then just instead of having to duplicate or modify, you could just have a template and then create a new task from template.
Right. Makes sense.
I mean, I guess for the moment, if that template functionality doesn't exist, I would suggest create it. But for the moment, I guess if we've got a bounty there with that stuff on, then we need to create a new one we could duplicate. Are we able to go back and say we've done one for a week and it's been created and done and paid? Are we able to pick that back up and duplicate it for next time? Is there kind of like the history we can go through that we can see of all the tasks done? Because what happens to it once it's been done and paid off of this? Is there like a historical log we can see?
If there is a historical log of the payments, there is. So if we just pay this out, then so we saw it about 15 minutes ago, we initiated this transaction, and then you would basically, the ones that are part of multi-sig would pay here, confirm here, and then this would take a minute or so to
what I mean was not necessarily of the actual transaction itself, but of the bounty of what was done, who did it, that kind of thing. Because then you could, if that does exist, then you could go back into it and reduplicate. You know, if we have something that we do once a month, I could quite easily see the need to every so often go back and pick up an old one and reduplicate it, because it's a regular thing, but it's only once a month, and therefore it goes off the board quick. So is there a historical board with all the old stuff we've done? And as well, that helps us kind of, you know, if ever we need to go back and sense check that something was done correctly, or, you know, there was no abuse of the system, you know, people making payments on behalf of the DAO out for their mates, etc., and creating spurious tasks that never existed. And we check that kind of thing.
Yeah, so right, so you can make these duplicates from tasks that are in done and then just drag them here, as I showed. And you can also see a receipt of the payments. So if we just add a payment method here real quick, just to show you that, or how it looks like with a receipt. And then I'll just add that to myself, add my reviewer, and then add a small bounty there, and then add it here. I can. Right, I think it was this one. Yeah. Right, and then I can choose. So, which one is mine? Yeah, this one is mine. So then I can pay it from here, confirm here, and then it's currently processing, but then we see here view and explorer, and this links directly to the explorer page, so in this case, Etherscan. And this sticks to the task, so you can always see what payments, you can see all the on-chain data.
And maybe
Go on.
No, I was going to say, like, over time here, and I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to, JH, that like this done list might get long, and then like how is that organized? Like 2 months from now, and we've been using this day to day. I could see that paid list would get fairly long. What does that look like? Do you have an?
Yeah, it's a great question. So far, it's just resulted in long lists. What we have on the very short timeline, probably in a day or so, or we already have it on the list view, is that you can filter. So you can filter by assignees and by tags. And we'll soon add that also on the Kanban board. But then the more concrete thing would be that we'll just cut it off at a certain, or we would make it loadable. So you can load tasks that were done like more than a week ago, but they wouldn't be shown by default, basically.
Yeah, so that was more my question. I apologize. I didn't appreciate that done list. I thought when you click pay now, it would be just here. I didn't see the paid boxes. So essentially, on some of our projects, they could be ongoing for a long time. It would be almost unmanageable to ever go through and find something that's already been done and then reduplicate. So, like that write a post about X one at the bottom. Ideally wouldn't want to click and drag that back across to reactivate it for this week. I would want to duplicate that, so we have the history of this one was written for this week, this one was written, the next one is written for this week. So we're able to take that write a post about X and duplicate it to create a new one for the next week or the next month. So if we have one monthly article, then after a year we have 12 payments, 12 things marked in the paid box for 12 articles. Right. That's the level of visibility and openness we need. You can't keep having something recurring that then just gets used 12 times. Sure.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And like on the time scale of 1 month. So far we worked on this for 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks. So on the time scale of a month, we'll for sure have that. Like the basic things of like creating stuff based on a template and the other points you mentioned for sure. And I do appreciate that feedback.
It's purely just based on from a financial control point of view and auditable point of view, having those click and drag back across and reusable as such means you lose the history of the previous item in here. But what happens, so say if you click and drag that back across and you've got that transaction history linked to an Etherscan, which payment will it bring up? The previous one or all of them related to that task?
Right. So this brings up the payment that was done on the task level. But then if we drag this to done, then we have this get off is here now. So if we pay that, then that adds a separate receipt to that subtask.
Okay, so it's a receipt per subtask. But if you go to if you cancel that now, if you go to write a post about X, right, the bottom one.
Yes.
If you click and drag that back over to the to-do box, instead of open it up, if you click that back into the to-do box and then kind of re-edit it to be reused again, if you've already paid it, what happens to that scan on Explorer?
Right.
Does it put a new one
on? So you can't pay for something that's already completed. So if you do it here and then put it back here, it will always be under the paid column.
So essentially you can't, if someone does a task and then pays it, creates a task, someone fulfills it and it gets paid, then it can't just be put back into the do and reused for the next month.
Oh, right.
You have
we
to
can
duplicate it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think it applies much to the Open DAO, since like Jake was saying, we would likely be doing all of the bounties in compensation for SOS, but I could easily see some DAOs that may have a governance token and then the opportunity of having the bounty or the task be compensated in a governance token and potentially a stable coin. Is that something that has been considered as far as having two opportunities for compensating on a single task?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's for sure something we want to add. For now, the simplest way to accomplish that would be to add another subtask and then add that payment to that. So you can, if this is if you want, yeah.
Got it. Like easy workaround, if you will.
But yeah, for sure, we'll for sure also add that you can just choose here to add several task words. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, and so I think those are the main things we've gone through. We have the GitHub integration as well. Yeah, you can of course export tasks as CSV. So you have an easy like exit always. And I guess for the GitHub, do you currently use GitHub issues currently?
Not currently, but that might be an opportunity in the future. We definitely have a GitHub organization created, but it's not being used right now.
It is a little bit. So people put GitHub requests, pull requests on there. Then the devs are watching that. We haven't yet got to a point where like full-on feature requests and proper development is working through there. But that is definitely the plan that people can contribute through that.
Makes sense. Yeah. So one of the ways we're seeing us use Dework is, I guess, as a way to have all the tasks or bounties at one place. So what we have in the Discord integration is that we allow you to import existing GitHub issues to Dework, and also create new GitHub issues when the Dework task is created. So the two platforms are completely in sync and can work in tandem. So now when we import it, you'll see that we've added a bunch of issues here from GitHub. And those are like basically can be treated like normal tasks. And you get this checkout option, so you can check out this branch. And when you push to origin to GitHub, then this links directly to GitHub. So you would use it in the same way as you would use Jira, basically. When you make a pull request, it just jumps to in review automatically. And when you merge the code, it's done. And it also closes the issue in GitHub.
Nice.
So
that all looks fairly good. We've had some questions which was like kind of research type questions. We have due diligence, etc., to do on the project. So you've been coding this for about 8 weeks now?
Yeah, so we've been working on this for full time 8 weeks, and we started onboarding DAOs around after in the new year, so about 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
And yeah, so far we have grown basically completely organically. So if you would go to our Twitter, you would be kind of disappointed because we have no posts there. We'll try to do a marketing push at some point, but the ones that are using it is mostly through people telling each other about it. So we have 15 to 20 DAOs that are using it consistently, and I guess some of the bigger ones include LexDAO probably, and also Token Engineering Commons and Juicebox.
Okay. What's your what's the revenue stream? Where are you making money in this? Because this feels at the moment there's no revenue for you. So just you know, this is something we have to understand, so that we understand that there is, you know, it's not a rug pull that all of our wallets are going to be drained when we're entering them, etc. You know, that kind of thing.
No, for sure, yeah. I guess that's the beauty of Web3, that we can't even really do. We're non-custodial, and the only thing we get from people is their public addresses. So that's very different from when I was Web2 dev. When I used Stripe, I got the people's like credit card numbers. I don't do that. Here are your private keys, all your own. But to your point, so we're completely self-funded for now, and we can continue to be so as long as we want, kind of luck in that way. So previously I had another company I ran for a few years. So, but yeah, we're looking. We'll at some point launch a token, of course, like a DAO token, and then that will be for governance, but also to be able to pay people to pay like a payment option.
Well, that's some nice alpha there. About, you know, if we use it for X amount of time, do we get to free airdrop on the token there? Don't want to spread that around too quick. We'll all jump on it.
No, I mean, like airdropping is, it's one of my favorite features in Web3 because it incentivizes early adoption. So
well, obviously you heard about ours, where pretty much like 50% of the token was airdropped just to our user community, and none was kept for the team, etc. So we're a big fan of the airdrop around here, the SOS. Awesome. So it's good to know that. So you're able to self-fund for a while, and you're consistently building. So that's quite good. I think there was a question about who can appoint tasks and bounties, but I think that was answered fairly early on, that it's the DAO admins or the project admins, correct?
Correct. And those and what we've seen is that those two can be very different. The DAO admins, or the DAOs, the core team,
they're the administrators of the system, and then the project admins are the administrators of the project, right?
Exactly. And those are oftentimes not core members. They're just people you trust in the DAO. They're
people who will have roles within the DAO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so one thing we have upcoming is which is something that, and a feature that enables you to map Discord roles to permissions.
Yes, that would be very, very popular for us, I think, because we would set roles in the Discord that give people access rights and abilities, and that would be good to then translate across to here, so it automatically sets up permissions for that as well. Yeah. Okay, so what's the timeline for that bit?
So that's a good question. I would guess on 2 to 3 weeks. My guess might be up to a month if we get too much. If the things we work on currently takes too much time, but it's by far the most requested feature. So we really want to get it done. Yeah.
Good to know. I think that's it from the research team side of stuff, what they were looking into. So from my perspective, it looks fairly good. Looks fairly flexible for us. I don't have any questions. There may be some technical questions, but along the lines of website security, etc. Don't know. But we would probably ask our technical team to look into it. Just to kind of see, just to give their view on, whether all the stuff like the bot in Discord, etc., that aren't malicious, etc. But I'm sure it's fine. That's just our own due diligence that we have to do on this kind of thing. Aside from that, it looks pretty good. It's very, very good for what we need it for. Okay. I don't have anything more to add. Anyone else? From anyone else?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything. Appreciate the time here, Linus, and your team has done. You and your team has done an absolutely wonderful job creating a very usable product here, and I think it's very timely for us here at the Open DAO. And Yeah, like I was looking at the YouTube comments too, didn't see any other questions came up there on the live stream. So thank you so much for hanging out with us and demonstrating a cool tool here that is much needed in the DAO ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say we appreciate all the time, and this is a great product. So it's really exciting to be able to move something else that has been in Web 2 into Web 3. So great job on that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And then I guess my question would be, what would be a good way for you folks and the community maybe to provide feedback or thoughts or questions? Does it make sense to have like a, yeah.
Do you have a suggestion board, or you know, if there's a way for us to collect them and give them to you separately, or what's your best method?
Yeah, so we have a feedback channel in our Discord server.
Right.
Where you just drop stuff, and yeah, a few DAOs we worked with, they create like threads or whatever in the Discord so we can discuss in that thread.
Linus,
okay.
I'll put an invitation to your Discord in the public comments, not the live chat, but like actually the long-term comments. So if people are watching this video on replay or whatever, and they want to jump in and say hi, then I'll just do that.
Okay,
awesome.
It would be good if we could have a channel in your Discord to ask questions, you know,
Sure.
you know, understand how to structure stuff, that kind of thing. Then
Yeah.
anyone who needs it can hop in there, and you know, any of our bounty creators can hop in there and ask separate questions. You know, if there's feature requests that they might want to see, etc., then that would be really good if that was available.
For sure, yes. So yeah, we would be happy to create like a partner channel. So I guess maybe everyone in the group DM would maybe, I would maybe yeah, the ones that join from that group DM, I can add them to the private
Yes, please.
The partner channel.
Yeah. I would at the moment we are very specific about what we call partners. So
right.
So
this it won't be visible. Official. Yeah.
Okay,
so it will be a private channel. So you only see it if you get the permission of your permission.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're just very careful about what we call partners.
Yeah, makes sense.
They generally tend to be large infrastructure partnerships, you know, providing SOS token across like Sealer Bridge to BSC and Polygon Bridge to Polygon, etc. So maybe as time goes on, and you know, if this bounty board really kicks off, then it can be looked at as official or whatever. But this is, you know, you're our product.
Sure. No,
we're using your product. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So just
internal Discord channel for now. Perfect.
Yeah. We'll call it whatever. But yeah. I understand what you're saying, and it won't be a public channel, so nobody but you will see it.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Well, we're right at the hour. So thanks, JH. Really appreciate you leading the effort on this, and thanks, Linus. It's always great to connect with you, and we will call this one a wrap. So thanks everybody from the Open DAO. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube so you get all the cool updates, and check out our project, $SOS for the token. We'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, bye.